should you get and build Narantuya? Short answer, yes. Long answer, this entire video.
Thanks a lot for the free ride. If I, Narantuya Kapudan, were to die on my Kagan quest, what a loss it would be for Sargon. Huh? You have never heard of me? Doesn't matter. One day, everyone will know who I am.
寝床はふかふかだし、空調も快適だね。で、ちょっと聞きたいんだけど、相乗りの宿代ってただ？
Narantuya Kapudan, a Kuranta who is believed to be around 25 years old. And interestingly, she is one of the few knights Moran Kuranta in Sargon. A race who notably lived a nomadic life, possessed bright red hair, and has a talent for illusory arts. She is a former desert bandit who once traveled across most of Sargon's lands, who found herself here after meeting and helping our fellow operators. And after careful inspection, it is decided her crime records would not negatively influence Rhodes' operations in Sargon. So she is now stationed long-term on Rhodes Island. With her survival technique and knowledge, she should become a reliable field operator. Alright, Naran is the standard 6-star that is featured beside Pepe, and is our first 6-star loop shooter sniper, with the specialization in DPS, and some multi-targeting and slow. And with the help of her skills, Naran is considered a versatile unit. At first glance loop shooter might look like a marksman sniper. But the thing about loop shooter is that they carry a boomerang projectile to attack. And they must wait for that projectile to come back before they can attack again. So with that fact in mind, it means the closer their target, the quicker their attack. So while they do have a long range, it is better to deploy them near the enemies if you want them to deal damage quicker. But this may create a problem, because placing them near enemies could risk them getting hit. And we know most ranged units are vulnerable. But I said most, because Naran has some abilities that makes her tougher than most ranged units. Moving on, let's see her stats. Her cost is lower than most snipers, but still slightly higher than a marksman. However, you should still be able to deploy her quickly enough. Her attack is on the average category, with a fast attack interval, especially if the target is close. She should defeat the low defense mob with ease. But she kinda still struggle to damage most enemies with B-level defense. For her defensive stats, her HP is actually pretty high for a ranged unit, similar to Moistchen. But she hardly has any defense, and absolutely zero resistance. Luckily, she has abilities that can boost her defensive stats. Now this is her talent. The first talent will allow her to steal some of enemies' attack and defense, making that enemy stats weaker, while making her own bigger permanently. But of course if you redeploy her, her stats will be reset, and she will need to start stealing again. Although it shouldn't take long to full stack this. Overall a nice talent that makes her attack stronger, and also makes her tougher than most ranged units. And like I said, she would need that extra defense if she's going to be deployed near the enemies. For talent 2, Naran will get a permanent physical and arts dodge, and also reduce the hit rate of enemies that are near her. This is a pretty great talent that further increases her survivability, and also turning her into a semi-debuffer, because that hit rate reduction should be beneficial for other operators as well. Not only does it give her a chance to avoid most damage entirely, but this should also allow her to be deployed instantly near the heat of a battle. You can also worry less about her deployment order, or even use her to become a bait unit in some situations. But since it's all still RNG, to guarantee her safety and optimal run, you might still want to partner her with a healer. Then this is her potential upgrade list. You got DP reduction, attack bonus, and talent enhancement, giving a bigger dodge chance on talent 2, and increasing both the steal bonus and stack limit on talent 1. All in all a nice upgrade. But like most operators, she's fine even without a duplicate. As for her module, well, Loop Shooter currently don't have a module, even in CN server. So share your ideas of the best module for this redhead. I got a feeling her module will be similar to Deadeye Sniper X module. But instead of damage increasing the farther the target, it's going to be the closer the target instead. Or well, I suppose a Delta module like Ella, that allows Naran to be deployed on the ground won't hurt either. And if that's the case, an upgrade to her talent 2 would be neat. Now let's see her skills. Skill 1 can make Naran switch to the following state. Her attack will now always deal critical damage. And her blades can chain to multiple enemies. Similar to what Chaincaster do. This skill also reduces her front range by 1. But it's hardly considered a drawback. Because if you need the range back, you can quickly switch to her normal state again. And well, it's always more beneficial if she attacks a target that is closer to her. Overall it's a pretty great AFK skill. With good damage multiplier, and adds the ability to hit multiple enemies at once. As for her skill 2, same like S1, this has a damage multiplier. And now adds a 1 second slow. The blades will also deal damage to all enemies it passes through when it returns. Giving this skill the ability to hit multiple enemies. It's pretty much a better version of Shirayuki S2. That can inflict slow and deal good damage, especially if the target is near. And of course due to its nature, it's a good option to handle swarms. As for the drawbacks, it has offensive recovery, so she will need to attack to charge her skills. Which could be a problem, especially during wave cooldown. But well, nowadays there are plenty of options to help her gain SP. And as long as there's a target, it shouldn't take long for Naran to charge it. After all, the skill got a pretty cheap cost, not to mention her quick attack. Last but not least, her skill 3. She will now throw 3 blades, or deal 3 hits at the same time. With each dealing critical damage. And whenever the blades return, she will deal additional attack up to 3 enemies near her, and also inflict slow to them. It's almost similar to her skill 2. But this time favors enemies that are nearby. If her target is close, she should be able to deal significant damage to them. And also inflict constant slow. And since all of her skills has damage multiplier, naturally Naran is a really good operator to get an attack buff. But this skill should be the most worthy to get a buff, and be used to do something like defeating bosses. For her skill mastery priority, you want to prioritize her most damaging skill, so that should be her S3. Sadly the mastery doesn't add something like she uses 4 blades instead of 3, and increases the last hit enemy limit. But it will increase the skill damage multiplier, and also reduce the skill cost. Your secondary priority is her first skill. In case you need her to deal constant damage, and multi-targeting. The mastery also increases her damage multiplier, and reduces the cost a bit. You can pretty much skip her S2. It's not straight up bad, but S3 should cover most of the things it does. And S1 should be better for frequent use, since it's pretty much has infinite duration. And for her base skills, Naran is all about gold production. Her skill 1 will increase factory capacity limit, and also reduce moral consumption. While skill 2 will increase factory productivity, plus 1% for every level of your dorm. The best combo I can think of is her with Vermeil and Cerberus. But to fully use her means you will need to maximize your dorms. Vermeil is also known to contribute a lot in XP production combo. So use Naran as you see fit. So ladies and gents, should you get and build Naran. She is a really good and versatile sniper, offering DPS, slow and debuff on the side, and has abilities that increases her survivability. And this versatility should make her a good operator to be used in most content, including something like IS mode. In fact, she even make it to the IS5 top appearance rate in CN. For new players she should be very useful. However, old players with lots of good 6-star sniper option, like Walter and T-Phone, might find her a bit unnecessary. But overall a good 6-star that you should consider to get, especially considering her debut is limited banner. That is typically worth it to pull, not only to get new and old limited, but also the pull total will convert into shop currency when the event ends. That should be all. Adios.